Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Nate Pennington from RunDreamAchieve.com. Today's video, I wanted to talk about marathon training for 40-year-old. This is definitely a topic that's important to me because I, too, am over 40 years old. I'm 43. Started running when I was 15 years old in 1992. My brother had talked me into coming out for the track team at Wintersville High School in Wintersville, Ohio, which is now Indian Creek High School, and kind of just fell in love with the sport. But I wanted to just talk about, some of the things that you're going to experience, especially the older you get in regards to training for the marathon. You have to be a lot more patient with yourself as compared to, when you were in your 20s and 30s. Workouts aren't as easy. Results don't come as quickly as they usually did in the past. I ran my best marathon when I was 31 years old, 2:19:35 at the 2007 California International Marathon. And over the years, I've had to learn what were the things that I was doing wrong and why wasn't I improving. I can tell you that you can continue to run world-class times, national class times, regional class times into your 40s, even later in life. I mean, there's athletes that are performing at elite level times, even into their 60s. Some of the athletes that I've seen from Japan, I think the Japanese record for 60-plus-year-old man is like in the low to mid 2:30s. I mean, it's absolutely a phenomenal marathon time. But in terms of marathon training for 40-year-olds, if you're 40 years old or older, I guess the best advice I can give you is just to continue to stay consistent with your training. Don't get so caught up in running high mileage for mileage sake. And again, it all depends on what your goals are. I mean, if your goal is to get out and run a marathon for the first time, or to just run, a few minutes faster than you've ever run for the distance, you don't necessarily have to run high mileage to get those types of results. You have to start training smarter rather than harder. I'm really a big believer in smarter training. I had to get past that as well. I thought that the idea of running high mileage would guarantee me a faster marathon time, and I felt that way up until I was like in my mid-30s. The last marathon I ran was in 2013. I was 38 years old at that time, and I ran 2:32:55. So there was like a gradual decrease or increase, I should say, in my times. I ran 2:19:35 when I was 31. I ran my second fastest time of 2:26:42 at the 2011 Monumental Indianapolis Marathon. Great race. If you ever get a chance to run the Monumental Indianapolis Marathon, it's held the first week in November in Indianapolis. It's a super flat course. Outstanding race support for sure. The course is flat for the most part. There are a couple minor undulations and hills on the course. But you definitely want to pick a race that has adequate weather, is a flat, fast course. And I should say a flat course, because there is no such thing as a fast course. There is a such thing as a fast athlete. And if you've done your homework and training, regardless if you're in your 20s or you're in your 40s or older, if you've done the proper training and you've trained at the paces that you're trying to sustain over the 26.2 mile distance or 42.2 kilometers, then you will be prepared to run fast over the marathon distance. That's what makes you fast. It's not the course itself. But when I mean a fast course, I just mean, a course that doesn't have as many hills on it, that is flat, like courses like Rotterdam, Paris, Berlin, Monumental Indianapolis Marathon, California International Marathon, courses like that, Amsterdam, if I didn't say that already, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, those are, courses that are below sea level, especially Rotterdam. It's actually below sea level. Find a course that's very, very flat, that has great competition. And in terms of, your preparation and your training. I want you to focus more on your nutrition, because as you age, people don't pay attention as much to hydration and their nutrition itself. I have a sister site I created about 2 years ago called nutritiongeeks.com. You're welcome to visit there. I'll leave a link below this video as well. That's basically a website that I created regarding Herbalife. It's my Herbalife business. I'm not big on I am a distributor, but I'm not big on selling and trying to persuade people to take their nutrition more seriously. What I do there that I don't do as much on RunDreamAchieve.com is I speak specifically on nutrition and business and building an additional revenue stream for yourself. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'll leave a link below this video. Your nutrition is very, very important as you're training for the marathon as a 40-year-old or older. You can still do those tough workouts that you did when you were in your 20s and 30s, even in your 40s. You know, I can still go out and sustain really hard paces for a decent amount of time on the track and on the roads. And you have that muscle memory, so what you've done in the past is still in your legs. It's just a matter of continuing to stress the energy systems of the body. You want to train once per week at your VO2 max. Now, granted, you're going to have to adjust your paces. You're not going to be able to go out and do, you know, your 6 by 1 mile repetitions or 3 times 2 mile repetitions on the track quite as fast as you did it when you were in your 20s and 30s. Can you still do it in your 40s? Absolutely. But again, it goes back to what are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to break a 3-hour marathon? If that's something you're trying to do, click on running courses on RunDreamAchieve.com. I'll leave links below this video you can check out. I have courses that I created that are more in-depth courses, more tutorial type courses for athletes that are trying to break 3 hours for the marathon, 4 hours for the marathon, and even 2 hours and 30 minutes for the marathon. And that goes for athletes that are in their 20s or in their 50s. Can you break a sub 3 hour marathon even in your 50s? Absolutely. So you may be a total beginner in the sport. If that's something that you're trying to train for the marathon for the first time, then definitely check out the training programs on RunDreamAchieve.com. All the programs that I've created and the running courses are specifically built for athletes that are trying to hit a specific time over the 26.2 mile, 42.1 kilometer or 42.2 kilometer event. So those are some resources there for you as well. I think it's very important as you're training for the marathon and being over 40 years old. It takes out a lot of the guesswork when you have something in place already where you know what you need to be doing on a daily basis and a monthly basis. And as the days, weeks, and months pass, you're doing the proper training that you need in order to get the results you're trying to go after. And I'm a big believer in a 10-day taper rather than a 3-week taper. I think there's some really big results you can get when you start dropping your volume and you start significantly dropping your intensity 10 days out from the race rather than 3 weeks out from the race. A lot of times in the past, I've tried the 3-week taper and I felt that it left me lethargic and feeling like really tired. Whereas when I started dropping 10 days out, I felt a lot more alert, a lot stronger, and a lot more rested leading into the big race. And I've always set personal best on 10-day tapers. So if that's something you've never tried in the past, I really highly recommend you try that. And again, the running courses and training programs I've created on RunDreamAchieve.com are there specifically and built for athletes that are trying to go after specific times over the marathon distance, and even from the 5K up to the marathon distance. So those are some of the key tips I wanted to share with you. I know as you're getting older, and myself included, your goals have to change, and your viewpoint of what you want to do, you have to adjust that a little bit. Me at 43 now, I know I'm not going to be, probably more than likely will not run under 2 hours and 20 minutes for the marathon again. I did that one time in my career. The 2:26 I ran at the 2011 marathon, Monumental Indianapolis Marathon. More than likely I would have ran about 2:22, 2:23 that day, but had to jump in a porta-john while I was running with the leaders in the race around mile 15 of the race. I lost about 3 minutes after, unfortunately. and spent the rest of the time trying to chase the leaders again in the race. But looking back, I did everything I possibly could, and the same with you. You have to adjust your goals, adjust what you're trying to do as you age. You can still run great times, and again, you may be somebody that's trying to run the marathon for the first time. So if that's you, then continue to focus on building mileage. You don't necessarily have to be doing speed work every single week to run a marathon. You need to be consistent and persistent in training and continuing to get out the door, kind of callousing your mind and your body to handle those long periods of time on your feet. So you don't necessarily have to get on the track and doing fartleks and doing repeat miles and repeat 2 miles, repeat 3 miles on the roads to run a marathon. Now, if you're trying to run a marathon and you're over 40 years old and you're trying to go after a very fast time, say for example something under 4 hours, you have to spend a little bit of time training, those energy systems of the body. You want to spend more time extending the amount of time you're running at your anaerobic threshold, which is the point at which we start to build up lactic acid in the bloodstream. The more efficient that you can get at clearing lactic acid faster than it's building up, the more successful and more economical you're going to run, more efficient you're going to run over the marathon distance. So that's kind of where I really think those are the real key aspects that as you get older, you need to focus a little bit more of your attention on, much more attention on recovery, because it's going to take longer to recover from workouts. I know in my 20s and 30s, I wasn't able to, I could usually recover after a hard workout in about a day to max 2 days, whereas now at 43, it sometimes takes me between 2 and 3 days. So if you go out and you do a workout and a couple days later you still feel tired, back off. Have the same discipline on your easy days as you do on your hard days. And sometimes that's really difficult because we're very good at training physically and getting out and putting in the work, but it's very difficult to slow down, even sometimes when we feel really great on our recovery days. And again, I stress this because it's so critical to remind you that your benefits of your hard work are going to come in the rest period. And there's a training concept called supercompensation. If you don't know anything about it, I highly recommend Googling that word, supercompensation, and find out what that is. I'm not going to explain that in this video, but it's just a helpful tip. Another helpful tip if you're over 40 years old, it's really critical and very important to know how important that resting and allowing yourself time to recover from those hard anaerobic workouts, those tempo runs you're out there doing, the long runs you're putting in. There's a lot of physiological adaptations that take time to occur over a period of time. And if you're not disciplined to slow down on those recovery days, you're not going to get the benefit you're looking for from those hard workouts you're doing. So I hope that makes sense. If you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe, like this video, share this video with everybody that you know. I really appreciate the support. And if you have a question, if there's something that I didn't cover in this video, leave me a comment below. If you're a marathoner, if you're a 5K specialist, 10K, half marathon athlete, let me know where you're currently at. If you're a marathoner over 40 years old, let me know what is the biggest problem that you've been having that's been kind of like giving you the biggest issue. Because I know if my subscribers and people that come here or go to RunDreamAchieve.com, if they let me know what is the pain point, then I can create a video or write some content or get that information out to you and get you an answer that hopefully will help you in your training and in your racing. So I appreciate the time you've taken to watch this video, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.